welcome back to my channel. It's Wendy here from Toonpish Crafts and I hope you're doing okay. Today I'm going to be doing a project with synthetic flowers that I bought from Hobbycraft in the UK. I'm sure you can buy them in other places, but I saw them and I dived on them. I thought they were absolutely beautiful. Now I don't know if you, I'm pretty sure you can see those. Can you not see those? They are stunning. Now I know they will change colour in resin, but they're on little wire stems, so I twisted them all together to make a bunch and I thought they would look great in a resin project. So I've done a few pours to try and get the one that I want. I had a bit of a disaster but I got there in the end, so stick around if you want to see how I got on with this. So as you can see, the flowers already come in little bunches and I didn't want to keep them in the bunches that they came in, so I decided to cut them apart. The Stanley knife is a bit close to my hand, so don't do that. But I wanted to separate them and put them in my own multicolour bunches. So once they're all separated, it's time for me to put the bunches together that complement each other. And they can't be too big because they've got to go into resin. So I need them away from the edges when they're in a block. So I can't have the bunches too big. These little bunches of flowers would look great in pyramids, in all kinds of resin projects. You can flatten them out slightly so that you can put them in coasters. Yeah, they would look great in a lot of things, don't you think? So once I've got my bunches, I'm going to put them into either pieces of wood that I've already cut up and put a hole in the top for, or into blocks of resin that I've had left over that I've also put a hole in so that I can put the stems into the hole. I've secured them into the holes with UV resin, although I didn't film that part, but you get the picture. So here I've got a tile that I've covered in painter's tape. And the plan is to glue the wood or the resin block onto the tile, put a plastic bottle around the outside, hot glue and tape the outside to stop the resin from leaking, hopefully, and put it in the pressure pot. Now that's the plan. So I'm just showing you here that I've stuck them completely down, I've covered them in tape to stop any leaks whatsoever. Yeah, that didn't go quite according to plan. I've also done quite a few in the background that I haven't filmed because I wanted my options open, but I really did want to work with one of the two on the tile. They were my favourite and that's what I was going for. So the resin I'm using here is Amazing Clear Cast by Illuminate. Now it's not really a deep pour resin, although I do use it a lot in deep pours. It does tend to get a little hot if you push it to its limit. I should have really used a specific deep pour resin, but I really like Illuminate. It's the amount of liquid there is in the deep pours that was the issue with this, the volume. So this was the outcome. So now it's time to get them out of the moulds. Now the plastic has melted around the resin or into the resin, so they just won't peel off like they should. And I'm a little bit stronger than I thought I was. I was giggling, big time. I was really giggling. So I took them to the garage. I hit the tiles with a hammer and I cut the bottles off with my Dremel. It was a lot easier. So this one, I think I might be able to save myself. It's off center, it's not completely in the middle, so I'm going to have to sort that somehow. The other one was sent to a friend of mine who's a better turner than I am, has more of a chance to make something out of a very warped piece than I do. So I've put a ring around the bottom with pen so that I can actually see where the wood comes to, and I'm going to take it to the garage and sand down the outside so I can make it kind of round. It's worth mentioning here that I do have a respirator on because the dust is appalling, and I use a respirator right the way through turning this piece as well, and a face shield. I don't know if you can see there, but I've taped the neck of the bottle up with tape because it was too small for the chuck that I'm using, and I needed it to stay still. It kept whizzing round. So I've taped the neck up, and I'm now trying to get the bottom flat and tapered so that it will go around the other way in the chuck and be held securely. I'm using the finisher tool, that's an Easy Wood mid-range finishing tool. Once I've got it to a nice round shape, then I'm going to use my rougher and cut in a tapered bottom so that I can turn it round. And I'm also going to flatten off the bottom of it as well. So now I've got it nice and secure, turned round in the chuck, and the bottom is all nice secure in that chuck. Then I can take the tailstock off and start creating the piece that I want. And I'm actually not sure at this point what it is I'm making. Believe it or not, I do not have a plan for this. I just thought I'd see what happens and where it goes. I've speeded this up to ×8 so that it doesn't bore you and you can get the idea of what I'm doing without sitting through quite a long time of me turning. Now I know the centre of this is off centre. The flower is not going to be completely in the centre, but I'm not too worried about that. So it did run through my mind that I could make a bottle stopper with this or a handle, but when I start coming to the end and I start taking down the top of the bottle, it's then that I realised what I need to make with this. The shape was just staring me in the face all the time and I just couldn't see it until I got to this part. It had to be an egg. So shaping the top was quite simple really. I mean, you see enough eggs in your life to know the shape of them. Shaping the back part wasn't so easy. I had to get the detailing tool out to get into the base. That was something I hadn't done before. Unfortunately, it's a little difficult to show on this footage, so I do turn the camera around to show you a little bit better, but it's not easy to see. So once I've got the shape that I wanted, then it's time for sanding, and sanding is the majority of resin or turning. I'm afraid anybody who doesn't like sanding, then turning may not be for you. Sanding is huge. But I won't put you through that. I'm not going to bore you. I started at 80 grit and I went through to 1500 grit. And then I went on to wet sanding, which is micro mesh sanding pads. And they go up to 16,000, so it's a very high grit. However, this resin was soft. It had only just come out of the pressure pot that day. It should not have been on the lathe. It was too soon. So I didn't get the finish on it that I could have done if I'd have waited a week, which I should have done. I'm just too impatient, you know.
Well, after the disaster of the first part, was the disaster as well, I actually managed to make a silk purse out of a sow's ear, and I don't know how I managed to do that, but I did. And here it is. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's my very first egg. Please don't take anything that you've seen today as the way to do things. I'm not an expert lathe worker in any shape or form, but I'm just showing you really that anyone can get to this stage. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love it. I love the colour. I love the wood. Yes, it's off centre. Yes, it's not quite shiny enough because the resin was still soft, but I can always go back and sand it down again. I'm so pleased with this. I'm over the moon that I managed to do this. I'm 55. If I can do this, you can do this. Just have a go. Anyway, I'll put some stills up at the end. I hope you enjoyed this. Have a great week, and I'll see you again next week, because you never know what I'm going to be up to.